How do? My name is Andrew Hancock and I am a VMware technical architect from Yorkshire in the United Kingdom. I have worked with VMware since their birth in 1998. So that's been a quarter of a century now. I've been working with the VMware product catalogue. Some of my close friends say if you cut Andy in half, it reads VMware like a stick of rock from Blackpool Pleasure Beach. I have now written over 130 articles and recorded over 30 hours of VMware vSphere 7 and 8 videos for Experts Exchange, and received 40 Expert Exchange awards over the last 11 years working with the Expert Exchange community. I am currently the overall #1 point earner in the Hall of Fame. I am honoured to have been accepted into the VMware vExpert program since 2011, and I'm currently a VMware vExpert Pro for the last 4 years. And welcome back to another episode of Hancock's VMware Half Hour. And I must admit, I don't know how long this video is going to be because I'm just going to jump straight in at the deep end and tell you what we're going to do today in this video. Based on the last video that we did, which was about how to configure and test SNMP v3 on VMware vSphere Hypervisor ESXi 8.0 U2 using ESXi, and I'll put just put the title and the URL of this in the video. So this is a prerequisite to the video today, and today we're going to have a little look at I did have a link. He says, where's the link gone? Here we go. Here's the link. In our Windows Server 2022, and I assume that it requires Windows Server 2022 because I've not actually done the I've not read the manual. So I'm just going to click. So today we're going to have a little look at PRTG. PRTG has been around for a very long time. You can Google and find out how long it's been available, but there is a free download available. So I'm just going to click free download, and I'm going to go off and run the installation on this server, and we'll see how far we get before we get into problems. It has been quite a while since I looked at PRTG. It's not a product that I deal with today, but I see an awful lot about it with one of the contacts in LinkedIn that's always going on about PRTG, who works for Paessler, the monitoring experts, that has promised me a t-shirt, and let's just say I haven't got it yet. Hint, hint. So here we go. Downloaded the PRG installer with a trial key, and I'm just going to click open on our Windows Server 2022, which is hosted on our HPE ProLiant microserver Gen 8s in our little vSphere cluster here. So we've only given this server 4 CPUs, 8 gig of RAM, 120 gig disk. As I said, not looked at the requirements, so I'm just doing this completely blind, and we'll see how well this works or doesn't work. So I'm just going to accept the license agreement, and I'm going to say next. As I said, this is a home lab that is running a little bit out of steam. These little servers don't have a lot of memory slots, so I can't really increase the memory. And although they are running on an SSD based flash environment with smart controllers, it's still an awful lot more sluggish. So it actually wants me, please enter. Okay, so okay, I will enter my valid email address to add to all the junk mail that normally comes through, followed by next. Okay, so it looks like it's going to trial key that I've got. It's going to go off and register against my IP address, maybe, or against my email address. I'm going to just do express recommended. It's unpacking files. It's a very small installer compared to a lot of things today. 300 meg, which is tiny. Unpacking files. I'm hot here. It's very hot in this office. 25 degrees C. Middle of the winter. Well, not middle of the winter, but you know, it's November the 13th. It's blowing a gale outside, Storm Debbie or something or other. It's freezing outside, and it's 25 in here. It's too hot. And they say the wood burning stove's on downstairs as well, so it's boiling downstairs. I think I probably need to move either the lab outside or into one of the bigger sheds, because it's definitely too hot in here. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to speed all this up in post anyway, because we don't want to watch unpacking files and installation all day long. But it's just going to quickly. I'll tell you what, I'm going to bob off, and I'll come back shortly. Well, I'm back. Well, that wasn't too difficult. Nothing's gone wrong yet, so that's a good sign. And it's got PRTG admin. I do remember this from a long time ago, and password I think is PRTG admin. So I'm just going to click login, and here we go. I do like the initial information that's actually basically given to you in terms of percentage and time as what it's doing before it presents the interface. So PRG is about to scan your network. Well, you will see all your devices for the next 30 days. You can enjoy unlimited sensors. Afterwards, you can use 100 sensors for free forever. Now, I'm probably going to get corrected on this, and I got a bit confused, I think, when I used PRTG back in the day, because I thought a sensor was a device. So i.e. ESXi, host, IP address, one device, one sensor, and it's not. My understanding is that a sensor specifically is like network interface, hard drive 1, hard drive 2, or CPU temperature 1, or network interface temperature 1, or GPU temperature 1, etc. And I think you can sort of kind of see here, this is the local device, so this is the Windows Server 2022, and core health is one sensor, probe health is another sensor, system health is another sensor, disk free one sensor, VMware Ethernet adapter one sensor. I think that's my understanding. So at the moment I click OK, it's going off. I'm Greg. Hello Greg. I wonder if actually Greg is a real person. It's a good picture of him. I'm going to reach out to off the top of my head I can't remember his name, and it's terrible because he's in my LinkedIn feed every single day, and I keep thinking it's Jasmine, but I don't think it's Jasmine at all, but I'm pretty sure it's Jay. But I'm going to have to reach out and turn around and say, is Greg a real person, or it's got a photograph, so I don't want to show me. Okay, so at the moment it's going off and scanning our environment automatically here. So it's actually finding things already. Excuse me. Excuse me. It can't interrogate them because I've not actually basically given it the community name, the SNMP community name for our gateway 192.168.182.1, but I will do later, and it will populate all this information here. And this gateway here is a Ubiquiti USG Pro 4, I think. So it's basically just sort of kind of grabbing at the moment what it can do. But all these here are sensors. So it turns around and says that 100 sensors for free forever. Depending on how big your home lab is, you can quickly see that I would have exhausted all these sensors very, very quickly. USW4 Again, that's a small PoE hub, Ubiquity again. It's obviously basically gone off and had a look at 141.25.138.112, and those are DNS servers on our other LAN. It's found some VMware hosts, so it's found ESXi 001, it's found ESXi 002, and it's basically just doing a ping at the moment. But we can add all these in. It's not found any Mac, not found any Hyper-V, not found any printers yet. So let's in the video that we did, we actually set SNMP v3 on our ESXi hosts. So somehow, and it's still doing the discovery, I should be able to add in a community name for ESXi 001 and ESXi 002, our v3 SNMP, which will allow it to grab and pull down more sensors. And then I can do exactly the same with our vCenter server, and I can add in a server as well, which is our lab servers. So I'm just going to put this on pause, and I'm just going to have a little look around, and then I'll come back shortly. So while we're waiting for the auto discovery progress of ESXi 001, 002, I'm going to plow ahead, and I'm going to manually add our Active Directory servers. So I'm just going to click Add Device, device name EE-lab DC1, and let's just use an fqdn-e-lab.com. IP version 4, I know its IP address. I get to choose a device icon. Is there something that looks like a VM, or is there something that looks like a Microsoft logo? IBM, HP. I'm just going to use a VM logo. No auto discovery, and I've got some credentials for SNMP. So v2c is what we configured for our Windows servers, because you may remember that I said that version 2C is all that's available currently on out of the box with Windows. So you can get some third parties. So that's our community string. So if I click OK, then that should add that VM. And now if I run an auto discovery, it should be able to log in to the SNMP agent on that host using the EE-lab parameters, and it should walk those MIBs, and it should start populating and showing me all the sensors. So we repeat for the second server. Ping add sensor. So let's just add device. So I'm going to do the second one now. I'm going to do EE-lab-DC2 ee-lab.com. Don't you love it when an application just works out of the box with no issue? 168.182.121. Going to give it a little VM. I'm going to scroll down. Exactly the same thing again, EE-lab. It's actually using the default string of public, and I did notice that some config must have fallen out from the Ubiquity switches. That's a surprise, because it's defaulted back to the community string public. So PRTG has actually basically managed to go off and rip all the stuff out of the switch in the lab here, and also the router between the other lab as well. So I'm going to click OK. So that should add another server, and if we do an auto discovery on that, then hopefully that will pull in some more information. So if we just scroll back up here, we can have a look at our Ubiquity switch here now. It's able basically to grab via SNMP all the port information across the servers, and as you can see, some of these ports has got iDRAC connected to other servers in the lab here. And if we have a look at the larger router, it was definitely there before, I saw it. USW4. Here we go. It's compressed or shrunk down the number of sensors. So if I just click and expand the sensors, here we go. So you can actually basically have a little look at the LAN traffic, etc., which is all basically being read out incorrectly, or not incorrectly, but because the community string is reset to public on that, which isn't a surprise. So you can see now that this is actually populating, as it's actually basically mid walking or SNMP walking that agent, and it's actually basically now pulling down things. So let's have a little look, see if we can do the same thing with our ESXi hosts, and if we can configure these devices, probably would have helped if I'd have read the manual. If we can actually configure details, edit settings, so we can edit the object and can have a little look. We're going to do SNMP, so we're not going to inherit, but we are going to use SNMP v3. We are going to use SHA. We're going to use a username of ADHP. We're going to use my password, which was password 1, and we're going to use encryption type AES, and the encryption key or the secret was password2. Don't have a context name, and I'm going to click OK. So hopefully we may be able to now, I'm hoping, right click and do another scan, and now that's actually basically going to do exactly the same thing. It's going to go off and it's going to use an SNMP parameters that I've given it. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to edit the settings. Now normally in an organization, you know, your secrets, your user IDs, your community strings would be known to an organization and the same. So you'd inherit those and you would actually go on off across your entire network. You usually wouldn't have different community names. So again, I'm going to inherit SNMP3, SHA, ADAPH. My password was password1, AES encryption, and the secret key was PA2. Okay, and we're just going to go off and do a scan now and see whether or not that changes. So there's an auto discovery going on here, and it's found something different, DNS v2 RDP, and it's still auto discovering. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go off. I've got a couple of other IP addresses, I think, which have got SNMP that's running on this lab. Not many. I think the iDRAC hosts I've got SNMP on these two servers, these two HPEs. So what I'm going to do, I'm probably going to go off, although let's just have a little look down here, because it's actually says it's found. So 105 is the AD, that's EE-Lab DC1, it's EE-Lab DC2, that's another Windows server, and that's another Windows server. So there's not much that's actually on at the moment. I was hoping to see something appear here, and I had hoped that we might get some more sensors here, enabling SNMP on these. So I'm wondering whether or not that it's not walked them yet. Just say the video's coming to about 23 minutes. Don't want to go on too long, because I just really wanted to show you a very quick overview into PRTG and how to get it up and running very quickly for free trial, and 100 free sensors, and out of the box it does exactly what it says on the tin. Anyway, leave this with me, and I'm going to come back shortly and let's see if I can give a poke and get some more data down from here. Okay, welcome back. And I've deliberately left PRTG for a couple of days, 24 hours, 48 hours, because I wanted to actually show you the dashboard and it start to populate the sensors. And I've actually configured an awful lot more devices on our network that I can show you. Now this video so far is about 23 minutes, so I don't really want to go over 30 minutes, so I've got about 7 minutes really to have a little look at PRTG. Now this definitely isn't a full review of the product, but PRTG is definitely a Swiss Army knife of network management. So if I actually go to our devices, and I'll show you how things now look. Now, one of the things I have learned is that it's not necessary to enable SNMP v3 in our case on ESXi or Windows, because PRTG has various different methods of obtaining metrics, parameters, data from servers, clients and devices. Certainly it can use SNMP, and I think I showed you, if we look at these devices here, which are the Ubiquity devices, which it's gone off and found using SNMP with the public community name, because the configurations dropped out of Ubiquity again. So by using the SNMP community name public, it's gone off and dragged all that information out of our USGs and our switches and our access points, and there's another switch here as well with an awful lot more sensors. If we look further down here at our VMware hosts, we can configure these for SSH, but we can also configure them for SNMP, or we can configure them for SOAP, which is one of the other APIs which exists within ESXi. So these are configured for SNMP and SOAP, and it's actually basically pulling information out of them in the same way that it's also basically grabbing information from vCenter server. And you can see here that it's actually red for Roomcast and red for Skyline, because currently these are turned off. But one of the other things, so if we just go back to home, and we can actually have a little look at our real dashboard in real time here, which is what I was saying to you before about having a single pane of glass that looks at your entire network and maps your entire network. And you can have a little look at the green ticks, which are up, or you can look at things that are down, which obviously Roomcast Analyzer is down, Skyline Appliance is down, deliberately because I've turned them off. But you may have servers that are off, which are offering services which need to be up. If I just go back, and if I also have a little look at some warnings, then these, I'm going to ignore the memory swap files, but if we look at a lot of these certificates, This is actually warning us about certificates on ESXi, and our gateway and our vCenter server are just using the default SSL certificates. And you get 100 sensors for free. And as I was saying to you, if you've got a small home lab, then that's probably ideal. But if you actually sort of kind of look at the sensors that we're currently using, I think after 30 days, this will resort to 100 sensors. So I think what will start to happen is that some of these sensors will start having question marks, or they'll be disabled. So that's what I was talking about before about sensors, that it's not a device, it's the options or metrics or statistics within a device. So you've got Windows CPU here, and we've got the VMX3 Ethernet adapter traffic bandwidth. We've got CPU processes, we've got memory pages. So each one of those is an individual sensor. But one of the things that, because I've been having a fantastic play again with this particular product, and I had to basically have a little look at my notes to see when the last time I actually basically looked at this photographer, and it was actually 2003. I can't believe that was 20 years ago. 20 years ago. Like some people maybe watching this possibly weren't born then. It makes me realize how old I am. Okay, and the other thing that I think somebody asked me was, you know, what does PRTG stand for? And it actually stands for Paessler Router Traffic Grapher. There we go. We'll call it PRTG for short. And it's still a Windows product, so it installs on Windows Server. Does sort of kind of surprise me after all this time that it's not a Linux appliance. Maybe there is one, I don't know. But one of the things that I also noticed was even with the trial version, I assume this can continue to work once we go into the free 100 sensor version, is the fact that there is a free a free Droid or iOS app for you to install on your phone. And I've been having a fantastic play with this all afternoon. So just one moment while I fire it up and I'll show you. So here you go. I'm going to drive from my phone. You can watch. So this is absolutely fantastic. Brilliant. I'm sorry, I'm a nerd. I like this sort of stuff. Digging into metrics, and these are the serial numbers of the SSDs inside one of the ESXi hosts. There are 4 SSDs, one logical array. So that's basically doing a deep dive down through ILO. We can have a little look at our ESXi servers, so we can actually basically see the traffic and everything, you know, all for free. It's fantastic. What can I say? So there you go. PRTG in a nutshell. It is a Swiss Army knife of network management. So you can plug it in to everything, and it certainly does a lot more than what I've showed you in 30 minutes. And again, it's one of them products, I think that if you've got a small amount of budget this Christmas, put it on your Christmas list and basically give it to your manager and turn around and say, this is really what we need in our organization if you're currently not looking at any network management products. I was just looking at the time here. It's 8 minutes and 14 seconds. So we've gone over Hancock's VMware half hour by a minute. That's probably a first. So anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope the audio's better. I listened to the last video that I did and the audio track was shockingly horrible. Apologies. I have tweaked some things here in the lab now, and I've got my cans on so I can listen to the outgoing audio, so hopefully it sounds much better. Anyway, thanks very much for watching this video on PRTG. Come back soon and have a little look at the next video that I'm going to do on Observium, which is the free community edition, which uses SNMP only, doesn't use WMI or anything else. It uses that, you know. So thank you very much and goodbye.